Well, hello there and welcome to Best of Both Worlds. What do you get with a feather and a flower? Stay tuned and you'll find out. I am so excited about this quilt that I am working on. I've been trying to find out the name of it for a while because it's not an Irish chain, it's not a triple, it's like quadruple, triple chain, I don't know. At any rate, you're going to love it. It's an antique quilt that I bought at Quilt Market, and I decided to put red thread on the muslin, and it's just turned out so beautifully. What I have done is I have so many fancy feathers that I have taken my feathers and made them into flowers, and I call them Fleathers. So I have a lot of them, so you're going to see what we're going to do with those and how we're going to apply them onto the quilt and what we do around them with our freehand to just make it look gorgeous. So let's get started. This is the quilt top that I told you about that I'm working on. You can see I have some designs in, and I'm going to show you how I fill in around those. And I'm going to start by continuing to fill in the colored areas, the little tiny squares, and then we'll go for the muslin part. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over to the computer, and I will choose the feather that I want, and all of these feathers are different. These are just some patterns that I have left up here because I've used them on the entire quilt. So I just leave them over there. I make sure that they're red, and that means that they won't quilt out at this point until I turn them black. So right now I'm going to take my cursor and go over here to draw boundary, and then we will look on the quilt. I really do have a square here. This is the middle of the square. If I follow this line on the side here of the muslin and the side here, and I come down and go over here, you can see that's where my square is. So I want to come up here and just click these corners like that. And then we can go to the computer. So there's my square, and I'm going to exit out of my drawing. And now I can move, and I can just go over and select this and just move this right over in there. And then I can see if it's going to fit. I'm not really concerned if it goes over the line a little bit here or there, because you saw the quilt and you know that, I'm going to have to fill in some more with freehand anyway. So now if I click it, it's black. And so now I can just tell the computer to sew it. So I just come up to the top and I do start quilting. Now, even though these feathers are round, because these are eight petals on each one, so that fit into what I was doing the best. I have also put leaves around it on this pattern so that it will make it into this block. This one is called a feathery feather, and you can see there's feathers inside of each of the little feathers. And it's going to make that round circle right in the middle of this white square. If you're going to fill in with more freehand, as it's stitching, all you have to do is watch what it's doing. It is making little berries, circles, and leaves on the outside. And that's how we're going to fill in this entire area, because we're going to come back with freehand. We have some really odd shapes. On this particular quilt, it's not just a square. So Just watch it while it's stitching, because you're going to come back and just do exactly what the machine is doing at this point. Okay, now we have our feathery feather in that square. And now I have one more area on the colored that I'm going to do put one of my feathers in here. And this one is a little bit different. I'm going to, first of all, of course, do my boundary, and I'll show you how I'm doing that. I have already adapted my pattern. I know this leaf comes down here, and I know this leaf comes up here. You can see this extra fullness. I'm so excited to show you what we're going to do with that. But if I come straight across here, so if I come here, and I've got the draw boundary on, so I just click it, and come down to here, click, and over to here, and click, and then I can close that off. And then I'm going to leave my machine right there on that. You can see where that's already stitched. I'm just going to leave my machine there. Let's go over to the screen now, and I'll show you how I'm putting that pattern right in that area. I can get rid of this pattern now, because that was the last one that I will put on this quilt, and I'll get rid of that boundary, and I'll come over here and clean this up, get rid of that one. Now this is the boundary that I just put in, and so this is the one that's going that direction that I need to put in. And look at the crosshairs right here. You see the crosshairs? That's where my machine is. So if I move this over here, I can get it like that. I'm going to bring it in just a little bit, make it a little bit smaller. And so the crosshairs are not going to interfere with the pattern that I'm doing, because that's the very end, and it's going to come over here and stitch and then back out. So now we're ready. We can get rid of this boundary over here. There we go. And actually, I'm finished with these as well. So this will be my last pattern. This one is a Fleathery Fern pattern. It's actually a block pattern, but I just distorted it with my, my handles. Just kind of brought it, see how you can do that. Make it fit anywhere you want, depending on what handles you use. This is so fun, incredibly fun. So, but that's the number, it was 207. So that's what I'm putting in here. And now we will just go over and start quilting. Now when it's quilting, you can really work around some of this area as it's quilting with your fingers, if you're careful, if you know where the machine's going to go. That's kind of important. And then you can kind of flatten it out. This just has a lot of fullness in it because it's hand-pieced. Now it's going to go around this way. And when I come back, I will be finishing in all around here. And so it's completely quilted. So as we come up here, I just want you to notice that, remember we had our machines camped right there, and then just made sure that we weren't going to be on top of our same stitching. And it just is putting that pattern in beautifully. Exactly in the right spot. Thank you very much. As it's coming over into this area, I'm just going to tend it a little bit more because there is extra fullness, and I can really slow it down. I can slow it way down just to make sure that I can handle it and it doesn't get away from me. There we go. So I'll come back with my freehand in that area. Now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to fill in all of these areas, as well as doing a continuous curve around the inside, around the muslin here. And I will be going into all of these different areas, coming back over here. Now when I get back over here, I want to show you what I did around the outside of this feather, which is already finished. but I echoed it once, and then I wanted to fill in it a little bit more, so then I came in and did a little design around there, so I will be doing that design as well. So I'm going to be doing continuous curve like this, and before I leave that area, you see how I just come over like this, come back with a leaf, like that. I can even come over here, and as I come back I'll do a circle, because remember they had berries on it, and then again like that, and I'll even come back with a little leaf here. Okay, so any of these little areas, see I just do kind of a curve like that, but I can put in a little curl anywhere just to fill in the area a little bit better. Some of the areas need a little bit more than others. This one's going to need a nice leaf right here, and you just don't have to worry about your leaves, because somewhere in the world there is a leaf that looks just like yours, and I know some of you are really afraid of that. That just isn't hard. Is that hard? No, it's just easy. You just need to, I'm in Power Assist, and that machine is just easy to move. I didn't have to take off the belts or anything like that. It's just easy to move. Okay, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do a teardrop, another teardrop, and then I do 1, 2, 3, and I'll come back here like that, and 1, 2, 3, and that's just the little design that I chose to do in each of those areas to fill that in, and we'll show a picture of that when we're finished so that you can see that whole square, because we're not really working on that square. And as I come back here, I can just do a circle, come back in, do another leaf. You don't have to have a plan, just do circles and leaves. You do want to do these continuous curves on these. In fact, we can come right down and finish those right now. And again, I'm going to do another little design here. And I know this is off the edge of the quilt, but that's okay. I still want that down, so when I'm binding it, it works out really well. So there's that one. And we'll put a leaf in there like that. We could just come right over here. Just the teardrop. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I could even follow this over here like this. 1, 2. I do a lot of talking to myself when I'm quilting, and I hope you do too. Most of us quilt alone. I mean, how many of us get to, we do when we go to classes, but most of us are just kind of loners when we're doing our long arm quilting. And I'm just filling all of this area in then with leaves. And I'm going to increase my speed a little bit. I am going to come to an area, again, that has this white muslin in it, and some more of the turquoise. See how I'm coming around those, making sure that I get that continuous curve all around that. And then in this area, I am doing, which I've done all the way around the quilt, 1, 2, 3 feathers, and then I come into it. I come in like that tight little curl, and then I bring my feathers all the way out. That's a feathered curl. And that brings me right back into my feather. There we go. You just need to practice a little bit, and you don't need to drop the belts because this machine moves beautifully. See, I could come back into that area and echo it, and so I will just continue to go all the way around in these areas, and then we'll put the next feather in. You just can't go wrong. I might even put a little feather up here, just so someday my children will find a little feather there and go, Grandma just couldn't resist, could she? No. And this is also helping me to handle some of that extra fullness. Do you see how easy that was? Just kind of go over that. Work it with your hands as you're quilting. And it looks like I need to go around these. Let's make sure we're consistent, so we'll go all the way around them. There we go. And I'm going to come back. I've got a couple of areas I left. And I don't necessarily have to go back. I can go into the middle there and come out again. And that had a lot of fullness in there, so I'm just making sure I nail that down. I can come right into the middle of this and then come out in a different place. And it's okay. Well, that was super fun. I hope you enjoyed all of that. We don't have time today to do the middle one, so we'll do that next time. And I want to show you how we're going to go around several of them to make them fit into the areas where they need to fit on this quilt. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.